one of our more exciting projects is the winch replacement. So this guy right here is our size 30 winch, and we're going to replace these with bigger winches. These winches have always been underpowered when it came to our getting our main in and out, but especially since we've been having struggles with our main, this guy has had to do a lot more work than it should, so I think it's a good thing that we're replacing these. Not only that, there's a plane going by. I was saying, not only that, the reason that it's extra exciting is because they're going to be electric. So last year we got a buy one get one free sale, so we bought 2 electric winches, but that was 11 months ago. So we finally have them on the boat. We had them delivered from St. Brendan's Isle. So that we have them, it is time for some winch replacement. So I already took this guy apart, and all I have to do is take these out. But I wanted to show you right back there are a ton of metal shavings. Now these metal shavings, I think that's a little bright. Let's bring you here. If you can see kind of the gold dust that's all around here, I think it was these gears grinding. And I think they were grinding because we were putting so much pressure on these poor little winches. They are not meant to do what they were doing. So we might move one to the mast, because the one that's on the mast is not a self-tailing winch. And so these are better in that way. If the size fits, we'll replace them, or we'll sell them as a pair to maybe one of the stores here. But yeah. So I think I'm gonna try to do the mechanical part, and Dave is gonna help me with that, and then Dave will jump in a little bit more with the electrical part. But yeah, super excited, because this means that Dave and I can send each other up the mast much more easily. I don't think that we'll need them for everyday use to get the sail in and out. That's not the way to do it. But to put ourselves up and down the mast safely without one of us really exhausting ourselves, or needing extra people to come help. I think this is gonna be awesome. Hello. Okay. So, top of the winch is basically dismantled. Now the next step is to get access to the nuts and bolts underneath here so that we can remove it completely. I've taken the liner down. So our liner edge is this guy. Can you see it? And there's staples on the inside of this. So usually it looks really nice and neat here. So I have to separate it out and get the stapler out. And if you guys don't have this, it's a rock steel staple remover. Very, very, very handy, especially in tighter places where maybe you can't get to with the bigger stuff. But I wanted to show you the bolts. So these are the bolts, and for reasons that I don't know exactly, there's like this thick gunky stuff completely messing up this areas. So I'm sure it was to seal things, but it is going to make this removal, of course, super difficult. This stuff better not be 5200, I swear. But removing these guys from the other side will give us access, and we might need to drill more holes to make space for the actual electrical part. But basically, we would, once a liner, I think we'd have to cut the liner out, but the motor would sit right here. I don't know, usually our fire extinguisher sits here, and this guy, so we may need to remove those. But yeah, step 1 of 500. So the importance of dry fitting. So removing the winches, not that annoying, a little bit annoying. And why? Why would you not leave enough space for this to turn? With the immense amount of 42 and 5200 that is present. But once we have gotten everything out, we are going with let me show you. So I made a little template with the edge of the winch base that's going to sit, and a hole for the connection to the motor to go into, as well as all the holes. And I put a little pilot hole in here just to check what's going to look like at the bottom. And then this is the the hole. I haven't put the pilot hole in yet, but this is the template that they actually give you. They don't give you a template for this, but they give you a template for this. This is where the switch is going to go to turn the electric winch on and off. So this is said to be, it's made in the UK, so it's going to be mostly metric, but it says or 1 inch. And so we're going to try to get the right size hole cutter for this. And this is like 2 3/16, so I think this is also metric. So we'll get a hole cutter size for this. But the problem is, so this is about where our old winch was. This is bigger, so we need to basically fill in all the old holes, put in the new holes for these, and epoxy them, etc. But if we have it this way, where you got plenty of space here, you've got your deck switch here where it's nice, got the spacing here. The problem is, this is the motor that's going to go at the bottom. And the problem is that when I use the same idea and make a template out of this, and I put it up here, let's get that, there we go. So I put the template up there, I don't want to overcharge it, and that is a hole where it's going to come out of. That very much does not match the pilot hole that I put down. So the pilot hole is way too close, so I gotta put a pilot hole from down here to see where it ends up there. It's okay if we put a bunch of extra holes. We can always fill them with epoxy. Okay, so if I just lifted up the template. So this is the hole that I wanted, that I put in before. This is the hole that I should have to have enough space for the motor to go underneath it. So we're gonna move this template to fit this. These are the old holes. These are the holes I thought I was going to put in, but let's see. So let's move this up. So this is what the new template looks like. We'll move this up too a little bit, but this was the old hole, this is the new hole, and when it's centered, it comes all the way to the end of the winch, and it's gonna be like right up against this, which I don't want, because if there's lines going around, we don't want to fight with this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this over 1 inch, so that'll be about here, and move everything downstairs over by 1 inch, and put the pilot hole there. That should work. Okay, new template with the last pilot hole put in and adjusted, and that all looks good. So I think we can go ahead and start drilling the big holes.
So, electric winch was almost ready to go in. We had the holes picked out and we were ready to pop these guys in. And then we started looking at the wiring and everything else that needed to be done, and we decided to scrap the project. I know we've had these coming to us or on the boat for almost a year now, but the more we looked at it, and actually a big thing that happened was that we got some riggers onto the boat. They looked at our setup for our mainsail, and they basically said our boom was at the wrong angle and helped us fix a lot of things. So now our main seems to be going in much better than it was before. We really don't think we need electric winches at this time, so we have instead just gone back to our old winches. We're going to see how those work out, and at least for now we think that they might work pretty well. Now, as we were putting them back in, we recognized that there were some very interesting things that were done. For instance, this little tiny metal plate, it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. That was actually, we had about 5 of these underneath the winch, and that was what was holding it to the bottom of the cabin top. As opposed to just a big plate, which is what most things are connected to the bottom of your deck as, because it provides a lot more strength, and you can think of it as like a giant washer that's giving you that compressive holding power. So we took all of these to a metal shop around here, and they were able to build us nice new plates. We also realized that the screws that were in the cabin top were extremely stripped because they've been there for 30 years. So we've just installed the new one here. Brand new screws. We've got some 4200 going around them, and once those cure, we'll have the old winches that we used to have, but they'll at least be much more solid than they used to be, and we'll feel a lot more comfortable about them. Let me show you what it looks like on the inside. So this area right here is our our lining for our top, and this right here is the brand new plate that we have had fabricated. We've got some nylon lock nuts going in here, and so this should be a much more secure holding for our winch. Not that I was particularly worried that the winch would pop out in the past, but now that I saw those little plates, I did feel a little more concerned. So this gives us a little more comfort that Turtle is much more solid.
The spice rack is back up. It's sad that we are not going to get electric winches, but sometimes you have to give up on something or walk away from something when it just doesn't feel right. There was too much destruction. All of these would have needed to go. The coat hangers, the amount of things we would have to sacrifice in order to get these winches to work, to use them maybe once or twice a year, just didn't feel right. Just, you know, so we walked away, and I think we're better for it. But yes, my spice rack is back up, and I think it's time to make some dinner.